In the meantime, our prediction experiment continues. By now, Georg Fuchs and Alexander Markovets have collected a significant amount of data.
Wie lange müssen wir eine Person beobachten?
The scientists analyze the quality of the data and start looking for patterns that will allow them to make predictions about Jacob's and Pina's behavior. But especially Jacob's restless lifestyle makes life hard for the experts.
Das ist erstaunlich, ja? Super.
It's not only scientists who are excited about the possibility of telling the future with computer models. Predictive analytics has become big business. In San Francisco, Jacob meets one of the stars of the programming scene. Anthony Goldblum, founder of the company Kaggle.
No one, I think, is going to mount an argument today that quality of life is not better because of factory processes and automation. And I think in 50 to 100 years' time, people will be saying the same things about predictive modeling and big data. I like data. I think the thing that I really love about data is that it doesn't lie. It's very objective. So when you ask for somebody's opinion, you get something back that's subjective. When you look at the data and you answer a question with data, you're getting a much clearer, much more real, much more tangible answer back.
There are lots of ambitious young people in San Francisco trying to get rich with predictive analytics. Anthony Goldblum is certainly one of the most successful.
We solve problems that I wouldn't have thought were humanly possible to solve using machine learning. So things like grading high school essays using algorithms, predicting which drugs are going to be good drugs using algorithms, image detection, machine learning with audio, with financial markets, for instance, starting to do a lot of work in the oil and gas industry. And just things that I never would have thought were possible, the Kaggle community has been able to solve.
Kaggle is an online platform that's used by companies like Google, Microsoft, and NASA. They invite programmers from around the world to write the best algorithm for a particular problem.
A lot of these statisticians and data scientists are exceptionally brilliant, but no one had ever discovered them before, and so Kaggle has given people who are previously undiscovered a chance to really become superstars.
Nearly 200,000 number crunchers from around the world have already participated in Kaggle competitions, from students to elite professors. Pina meets one of those computer whiz kids in Hamburg. Josef Feigl ranks among the top 10 of Kaggle programmers worldwide.
Gegen Ende wird's immer stressiger meistens.
Towards the end it's always stressful, mainly because then everybody posts their best solutions and you have to keep up. So that's a bit hectic. But otherwise it's okay. It's a nice hobby.
I've
never worked with real data during my studies, and for me that's the thrill. What's different in real life? During my first competition, I learned much more than during my entire studies. For example, if a pharmaceutical company wants to predict what kinds of people are at risk of contracting diabetes, they start a competition on Kaggle. They provide programmers with anonymous raw data from patients who already have diabetes. You have to think in advance about what data you want to use for your algorithm, and then feed that into the model. This takes up about 80% of the time, and that's the hard part. If you simply feed raw, unprocessed data into an algorithm, then it'll work, but it won't be very good at recognizing patterns. After the algorithm has learned what the typical pattern for a patient looks like, it can then search other people's data for the same pattern. Then it can calculate how likely it is that these people develop diabetes. Josef Feigl sends his calculations to Kaggle and immediately gets feedback on how well his algorithm performs.
letztendlich
In the end, an algorithm is only able to calculate probabilities. And even if an algorithm is 97% accurate, its results can be wrong. So you can't eliminate randomness, but you can get increasingly accurate. This is one fundamental limitation of predictive analytics. Even the best algorithm can be wrong. It's not a digital crystal ball.
Man wird immer besser vorhersagen können, Sachen, die
We're quite good at predicting things that happen on a regular basis,
was man nie vorhersagen können
but
wird,
we will never be able to predict singular
nie
events.
vorhersagen
We
können,
won't be able to predict the next 9/11 or a suicide or other extraordinary events.
Suizid oder dieses außergewöhnliche Ereignis.
This means that Minority Report will remain Hollywood fiction for the time being. People won't be arrested before they've committed a crime, just because an algorithm has calculated they will actually do it at some point in the future.
Es ist immer ein Unterschied
There's always a big difference between probability and reality.
Im Einzelfall
In individual cases, statistics are useless. The probability of getting a particular form of cancer may be 0.0001. But if I get this cancer, statistics won't be much help.
Dann hilft mir die ganze Wahrscheinlichkeit nichts mehr. Und genauso kann
It's the
ich
same with
sagen,
crime.
dieser Mensch wird mit einer
There's a
sehr
certain
hohen
probability that a
Wahrscheinlichkeit
certain individual will commit a crime in the future,
aggressives Verhalten.
but whether he really will commit a crime is impossible to
Das werde ich
predict.
nicht sagen. Das werde ich nicht vorhersagen können.
I think there's fundamentally randomness in the world. So no matter how much data you collect, if there's a source of randomness, then you won't be able to predict